Hello, everybody. How's it going? It's been too long. It actually hasn't been too long. It's been like 3 hours, 4 hours ish. I don't even remember. So I just finished watching the latest episode of AEW Rampage, and I was getting ready to record the newest episode of my award-winning Peabody Award nominee uh episode of my podcast. Jesus, I can't even speak. The newest episode of my award winning Peabody nominated podcast, Return of the Mark. And I got kind of on a whim, was just like, why don't I just stream it? Because fucking why not? This is like the prime time to be talking about this shit. This is, when everybody's going to be into it. So, this will be weird. I'm gonna just basically be reading off of my notes. In I'm gonna just be reading my notes like in order. If anyone shows up for the chat, I'm not gonna interact with them until maybe afterwards. We'll see. Um, because then I'm gonna go into editing mode, and we're gonna have to be putting in music and stuff. I don't know. This is weird. I've never done this before. Never done anything like it before. So who knows what it'll even fucking look like? Maybe no one's gonna show up because it's 10 p.m. um at night, and I normally don't ever stream during this time of day. And, people don't even show up for that anyway. So I figured, what the fuck? Like, what is the worst thing that could happen? And then, if I do this, I might qualify for the fucking Twitch sports thing. That would be kind of cool. That'd be neat, wouldn't it? If I was a Twitch sportsman. They had me talking about the football. I don't fucking know. Anyway, without further interruption, let's celebrate and suck some dick. Wait, let's record this episode of this podcast. All right. Happy Saturday, everyone. Welcome to the latest episode of the award-winning Return of the Mark podcast with your host, Russell of the award-winning Twitch stream, Technically Rudo. I realized you're supposed to kind of start these with an introduction, like a kind of intro, if you will, where you introduce yourself to the listeners and whatnot. You learn new things every day, even things that are super obvious. Hey, I promised a bonus episode, but the week has come and gone and no bonus episode. What gives? Life, my friends. I'm still going through a productive upswing, but it's been a rough week, and I couldn't get as much done as I'd like to have. Unfortunately, by the time I finished Double or Nothing, it was past midnight and I had to get up early for work. We're still gonna run down the show though. Worry not. Mind you, I didn't take any notes during the show, so I'm gonna do my best, just overall impressions and stuff. We still have to do Dynamite and Rampage after all. Think of this as the bonus. Let's go! Double or Nothing kicks off with the MJF versus Wardlow. If Wardlow wins, he will be released from MJF's contract, freeing him to sign with AEW. If MJF wins, Wardlow's contract would be frozen, and MJF would pay him to stay at home, effectively banning him from AEW. This match was a pure 10 out of 10. No notes, picture perfect blow off to a 9-month angle. After MJF ducks, wiggles, and otherwise tries to get out of actually fighting Wardlow, Wardlow eventually catches and fucking destroys MJF. 10 power bombs, people going fucking nuts. Wardlow wins, is officially declared as All Elite as I weep with joy. Next up was Jeff and Matt Hardy versus Nick and Matt Jackson, the Hardy Boys versus the Young Bucks. I watched the match, hands clasped together, begging Jeff to stop. Despite this, was a fairly solid match, with a Hardy's win. Jade Cargill defeats Anna Jay. I have no memory of this match. Jade Cargill is still awesome. I really wonder who could possibly be the one to dethrone her. Malachi Black, Buddy Matthews, and Brody King of the House of Black versus Penta Oscuro, Ray Fenix, and Pac of Death Triangle. Super fast paced, exciting trios action between 6 of the best wrestlers on the planet. An additional hell yes when House of Black picks up the win after lights go out and Julia Hart appears and spits black mist into Pac's face. Adam Cole versus Samoa Joe for the Owen Hart Foundation Men's Tournament Final. Pretty good match as I remember. Adam Cole picks up the win after he's able to take advantage of Joe's shoulder that got hit with the pipe and was further damaged by Kyle O'Reilly. Good stuff. Britt Baker versus Ruby Soho, Owen Hart Foundation Women's Tournament Final. Aight match. Britt is walked to the ring by an embarrassing old man guitarist who's revealed to be the guitarist from Fozzy, so that tracks. Soho is walked out by Rancid, which is a little better, so Soho wins there. Britt won the match though. We get a ceremony where Martha Hart thanks everyone involved in the tournament, from the fighters to the people behind the scenes doing stuff, and presents Adam Cole and Britt Baker with the Owen Hart Foundation themed Stampede belts and a big trophy that'll have their names engraved on it. Very cool. Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky of Men of the Year and Paige Van Zant versus Frankie Kazarian, Sammy Guevara, and Ty Conti. Kaz calls Sammy a stupid son of a bitch the whole time. Men of the Year win. I'm just glad it's over. Kyle O'Reilly versus Darby Allin was a last-minute addition that still fucking ruled. I think my personal match of the night, Precise Striker and Matt Technician versus a Wrestling Crash Test Dummy, was a great dynamic, and I hope they get to do more with these two. Thunder Rosa versus Serena Deeb for the AEW Women's World Championship. This match was where I got real sleepy, but it was still pretty good stuff. Might have to catch it again. Jericho Appreciation Society versus Bryan Danielson, Jon Moxley, Eddie Kingston, Santana, and Ortiz was overwhelming. I'm actually going to have to go back and watch this match again because I was absolutely fried by this point, and I don't think I was able to follow it. I got overwhelmed trying to keep track of where everyone was, and while I loved that Wildcat thing kept playing as the brawl went on, I got real sick of it when it looped again. It actually made me turn on the match, kinda. They won me back over when everyone converged in the ring, and Eddie Kingston stumbled down the ramp with a jerry can covered in blood with murder in his eyes, which is an image I see being iconic for the rest of his career. Jurassic Express, Swerve in Our Glory, and Team Taz faced off for the tag team titles. Jurassic Express win, which is weird. I love them. They're fantastic wrestlers, and Jungle Boy in particular really can only get better, but they're the least interesting tag team in AEW. They just need a juicy angle to really get things rolling for them. CM Punk defeats Adam Page for the AEW title. I didn't need to see Punk win the world title, but now that it's happened, I'm not mad. Page had a great run, and I'm excited to see where things go for them. So that was Double or Nothing. Pretty solid, no matches were bad or anything, but a little disappointing as a follow-up for Revolution. Lots of intrigue going into Dynamite, so let's light it up right into it. We are live at the Forum in LA. I could have gone to this show. Fuck. We start off with CM Punk making his grand entrance. He still looks fucking incredible with that belt. It's an incredible belt though, so that makes sense. FTR come out while Punk is still on the stage to huge ovation too. They don't have the AAA tag team titles with them, which, according to Wikipedia and Cage Match, they still have. I guess they just wanted to have the Tony Khan branded titles for tonight, as the three of them with the belts look absolutely gorgeous. Gun Club and Max Caster next. Caster's rap is great as always, but he calls Bret Hart trash, so it's a 0 out of 10. They do the wrong city thing with the Gun Club, Colton saying San Diego, so shouts out. Commentary explains that FTR and Punk became close after Punk's match with Harwood, the three all earning each other's respect. Austin Gunn gets worked over with a great smooth double team from FTR, but manages to tag out to Colton. Cash Wheeler then does a real amazing fundamental sequence of drop kicks and arm drags to a big back body drop. Punk tags in and the place goes nuts, but Max Caster is able to stomp him down. This doesn't last long before all three arrange a power slam from Cash off the middle rope. We wrestle around, and the Ass Boys take over, working over Dax. Cash inadvertently distracts ref Audrey Edwards, and Billy Gunn gets a cheap shot in. Dax mounts a comeback and goes for the tag, but Max and Colton knock Cash and Punk off. There's a nice little Pride commercial about Anthony Bowens. How nice. Happy Pride Month, everyone. This episode of Dynamite lands on June 1st, so we're just kicking things off. Man, it's hard to focus during picture-in-picture. Not always, but I feel like inevitably it's just the filler stuff. I feel like inevitably drawn to the commercials for some reason. Like, I just watch the commercials, and it's real distracting. And I mean, I don't even like the commercials. They're always garbage, but I still just watch those instead of the wrestling that I'm interested in. I don't know. There's no good answer for this, honestly. Sure enough, we get back to the show, and Dax is still being worked over. Punk finally makes the hot tag and slips on the top rope. I'm starting to think he might be doing it on purpose. Punk gets a whole bunch of fiery offense in and does some great teamwork with Cash before hitting the elbow drop. He signals the GTS, and Billy gets on the apron for the distraction. There's a roll-up, but Punk kicks out and powerbombs Colton into Billy, hits the GTS, and FTR hit the big rig out of it for the win. This match was awesome, even just for establishing this trio. Hopefully they get to keep having tags together, because I'd really love to see them face House of Black, Blackpool Combat Club, Jurassic Express. They got a lot of chemistry. Punk takes the mic and says, "This must be what drugs are like." He has a lot to learn as AEW champion, but he's going to learn. Dax says that is in fact what drugs are like. The only things that mean more to him than pro wrestling are his wife and daughter. They don't sit well with him. So he challenges whoever to a match. I don't know what he's talking about. It didn't sound like he was talking about O'Connor or Jeff Cobb. Excuse me. Punk says the New Japan pay-per-view coming up, and he wants to know who he's getting. No jumping from behind. Hiroshi fucking Tanahashi comes out. Fuck. Yes, that's how you do this shit. I'm so into the idea of this match. It's going to be great. Editor's note. I take all these notes live as I watch the show. As the show happens live. So, yeah, it's going to get real. It's a fucking bummer by the end of this episode. Jesus. Next up, we're hearing from MJF. You know, I didn't really get to talk about it earlier, but a lot is going on with this fella right now. Apparently, he no-showed a meet and greet this weekend, and it wasn't clear if he was even going to show up to Double or Nothing either. Apparently, a plane ticket back to New Jersey was purchased in his name, but you know how people love to talk. More of the backstage drama was apparently he showed up shortly before and left shortly after his match. I don't know what exactly the deal is, but here's my thing. I want every pro wrestler to be paid well, to wrestle safely with the freedom to wrestle how they want. That's it. If AEW isn't doing that for MJF, I hope he finds somewhere that will. MJF's music hits to initial excitement, but quickly moves over to boos. MJF silently asks for the music to be cut, but doesn't speak, walking to the ring in silence, letting the boos wash over. The booing only intensifies after putting the mic to his mouth. Holy shit. I could not take any notes on what he was saying. In January, in the middle of his feud with CM Punk, MJF cut one of the best promos I've ever heard. This one blew it out of the water. This was MJF's pipe bomb. I wrote down a minute ago that the crowd was booing him too hard to speak, but by the end, he's getting a standing ovation. I don't think any recap can do it justice, so I'll just lay out the brass tacks and say go watch this promo for yourself. MJF airs his grievances with the fans, management, other wrestlers in the back, and sharpest of all, Tony Khan himself. This culminates in MJF demanding to be fired and calls Tony a fucking mark. His mic is cut and the program cuts to commercial. When we come back on air, commentary recaps the Punk Tanahashi segment and no mention of MJF is made. Thank goodness this podcast is called Return of the Mark, because you cannot make heads or tails of what's true here and what isn't. I think there's an instinct to call it fake, but I do think this was a planned segment. After all, MJF's fuck here was censored, but Jon Moxley's fuck, when he made his return promo after taking that few months off, was not. You could call the producers getting the 7-second delay game on point here, but who knows? This is professional wrestling, daddy. The money is made when you got the fans wondering what's real and what isn't. Ending aside, MJF didn't say anything untrue. Watch this promo. Johnny Elite comes out with the open challenge. It's Miro. I miss this fucking guy. He cuts a promo saying he's gonna fight his way to heaven and kill God. His neck is better, but his heart is broken. He's in fucking great shape, Jesus. Elite tries to go for the kicks, but Miro starts fucking him up. Miro's gonna kill you, chance come. Miro just pulls Elite off the top with a Saito suplex. Once again, I find myself struggling to focus during picture-in-picture. There's a commercial for personalized ads through Facebook. Dystopic. We come back and Elite tries to make a comeback and Miro just shuts it down with a slam. Elite manages to dodge Miro's big boot and hits an enziguri followed by a springboard enziguri and a shooting star for a 1 count. Miro dodges a barrel roll, hits the pump kick and locks in a submission, I forget the name of which, for the win. We get a recap of Anarchy in the Arena. We'll get back to this one, I think. Jericho Appreciation Society come out. They've got matching white leather vests. They're short Daniel Garcia, as that fella has a match to get ready for. Angelo Parker says they dominated Anarchy in the Arena, and demands the crowd's appreciation. Daddy Magic Matt Menard says they're the princes of pape, which I don't think anyone refers to pay-per-views as papes. Jericho says the crowd doesn't deserve to sing, but deserves the Jericho Appreciation Society, which I think is a fucking great, like a great little dig. Like, you don't deserve the thing you want to do. You don't deserve the thing you like. You deserve us, the thing you don't like. It's funny. They went through hell in the match, and the mention of Eddie Kingston, the crowd blows up. Jericho wonders what kind of man burns another man. He said Danielson said he's going to kick my expletive head in, but he and Jake Hager had knocked him out. Garcia is going to win the main event because sports entertainers always win. Kingston and Regal come out. Kingston says he wants to fight all of them. He challenges them to a blood and guts match, and they walk off. But when Jericho taunts him, Kingston storms to the ring and gets jumped by Jake, Matt, and Angelo. Ortiz jumps the ring and hits Jericho with a loaded sock, and cuts a lock of Jericho's hair. Jericho says blood and guts is on, but challenges Ortiz to a hair versus hair match first. I always love a good luchas de apuestas. Luchas de apuestas, yeah. We get a recap of Joe being interviewed after Double or Nothing, and he gets jumped by Jay Lethal, Sanjay Dutt, and Satnam Singh. He's got no one to blame but himself, really. They keep fucking jumping him. Also, that group needs a smoother name. The Undisputed Elite, Hikuleo, Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly, Nick and Matt Jackson versus Matt Hardy, Darby Allin, Luchasaurus, Jungle Boy, and Christian Cage. Adam Cole and Jeff Hardy were initially announced for this match, but were swapped out due to being hurt from Double or Nothing. Understandable. Matt Hardy is wearing his crushed red velvet shirt. I like that. Darby jumps in front of Jungle Boy to throw his shirt at O'Reilly, which I liked. He's the sub-in for the group, so it makes sense that he wouldn't necessarily gel. We tease some conflict with Christian and Matt Hardy, which is an excellent touch. At one point, Nick Jackson tries to block Christian from hitting Matt with a tornado DDT, but Cage is too savvy and knocks him back. Our good guys team all take turns hitting dives to the outside until Christian gets super kicked, and hits dies of their own. We get a short period where Cage and O'Reilly are in together, and I need this singles match like I need fresh water. Hikuleo finally gets tagged in to do stuff and does nothing really. The crowd chant for Luchasaurus, hoping to see the big men, but Hikuleo tags right out. Cage counters a double super kick with a double inverted DDT and tags in Luchasaurus, who starts wrecking everyone. O'Reilly at one point goes for a guillotine and gets splashed into Nick Jackson. It ruled. We finally get Hikuleo versus Luchasaurus, including a double goozle, before they lariat each other and Allen and O'Reilly tag in. Allen starts 2v1ing Red Dragon and drops Hikuleo on his head. Hikuleo catches the coffin drop to the outside and hands him to Red Dragon for chasing the dragon. Matt Hardy slams everyone's head into the turnbuckle, but Hikuleo resists. The Bucks end up in the ring and start throwing super kicks all over the place, go for the BTE trigger, but gets blocked by Matt Hardy. Red Dragon hit the high-low on Matt Hardy, and Bucks hit the Meltzer driver on Jungle Boy for the win. Matt shakes Jungle Boy's hand and gives him a hug, but Christian separates them and hugs Jungle Boy by himself. Interesting. Swerve and Our Glory are in the back with a bunch of dudes. They are important, I guess. He introduces them all except for one guy, which made me laugh. Lee says they're due for gold, tag or singles. Cool. Tony Schiavone is on the ramp to interview Athena. Tony commends her for standing up against Jade Cargill. Athena says the top competition is in AEW, but is after Jade Cargill's title and streak. Jade comes out telling Tony to cut the shit. She has the baddies and Stokely Hathaway with her. Hathaway says Jane is a queen and a goddess. They decline the title match, and Anna Jay and Chris Statlander come out, and they all argue into a commercial break. We see Wardlow walking through the back out onto the entrance ramp, and then his music starts. God damn, that fucking rules. He's facing JD Drake tonight, which is cool, I guess. As I type, Wardlow is doing some hype shit. He fast rolls and dragdolls JD up for a slam, then hits 2 powerbombs for the win. He kicks JD out of the ring, and Tony comes down to talk to him, but Smart Mark Sterling comes down and gives Wardlow a class action lawsuit on behalf of the arena security, which is fucking hilarious. He powerbombs the dude who gives him the paper and rips it up. Excalibur says Scorpio Sky and Dante Martin are in the back, but it's just Scorpio and Dan Lambert and Ethan Page. They say Dante has potential, but they're going to walk all over him. He should enjoy his California vacation, but don't think he's going to take the TNT title. Dante comes in and says he appreciates them seeing his potential, but he's already better than him. Good shit. Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter versus Tony Storm and Ruby Soho next. Britt has the Owen Hart Foundation belt, but I thought she got the black strapped belt that night. Who knows? Tony tries to cheap shot Hayter on the apron for some reason. After a brief exchange, Britt bails out and to hold up her title. She talks to Hayter before getting rolled up. What the fuck was that? Tony and Soho double team, and then Britt tags out. Britt hits a twisting neck breaker off the apron, and that was cool. Britt, I think, just legit stomped Soho in the face. Soho's been getting beat up a bunch, while Storm has been getting hit off the apron. Saito suplex, and Soho is finally able to tag out. Storm then starts firing off on Hayter and Baker, and hits a crazy hip attack into a tornado DDT. She goes for another tornado DDT, but Hayter counters that one, and Soho dives off the top rope onto her. Then Britt hits a sling blade on Soho and sends Storm and Hayter back in. Storm goes for the strong zero, leading to everyone hitting each other with big moves. Soho hits no future, but Britt kicks out and tries to go for the lockjaw, but Soho scouts it. Soho is able to hit this Destination Unknown for the pin. Jamie hits the winners with the Owen Hart belt, and she and Britt smile at each other. Daniel Garcia versus Jon Moxley is up next. Garcia is limping to sell the Anarchy in the arena match. His towel and hat make him look really small for some reason. Mox comes out looking psychotic. We start out with some good grappling back and forth, and Mox takes over with some chops, but Garcia responds with some of his own. Garcia hits the back kick that seems to just piss Mox off, who hits his own. Greco-Roman knuckle lock gets some dueling headbutts that Garcia comes on top of. Mox goes for the paradigm shift, but Garcia throws them out of the ring, and Mox's wound from Sunday opens back up. Garcia does some absolutely gross legwork by kicking the steps into Mox's knee and tying it up in the ropes. Garcia does a figure four that he refuses to break, and Bryce Remsburg has to pull them apart. Mox is on top, but Garcia goes up with him and works over Mox's blood and even bites him, rubbing the blood all over his face. Garcia goes back up and hits a big back suplex for 2. Garcia goes for the sharpshooter, but Mox gouges his eye and does the release suplex onto the steps. Fucking lunatics. They're back inside, and Mox hits a front chancery suplex off the top for a 2, then does hammer and elbows into the sleeper, but Garcia rolls through and does his own. And Mox rolls through that for his own again. Garcia does the fucking regal stretch, but Mox hits the ropes. We get a wild flurry of violence, knee bars and strikes and suplexes, culminating in a pile driver from Garcia. We go back and forth with off the ropes strikes, but we roll out of the ring and Garcia hits the sleeper. Mox is able to drops onto the table and they roll back into the ring. Boy, am I getting tongue-tied. It is late at night, folks. I'm sorry. Jericho runs up to the ring for the distraction, but this gives Eddie Kingston the opening he needed to run down and start beating up Jericho as Mox hits the paradigm shift and the bulldog choke for the win. Mox takes the mic, says Eddie is a hard guy to love, but he loves him. He's signing himself up for blood and guts as we go off air. Overall, this was an I-8 episode of Dynamite. Match-wise, consistently very good, with Mox vs. Garcia being really good. Hands down match of the night. It was all overshadowed by MJF's promo, though. That was whew. But now it's Thursday, so I'm excited to announce a new segment. Bonus match. That's right. We're going to be reviewing a match totally separate from Dynamite and Rampage, and a sweet little piece of meat in between the two, like a violent sandwich. It's the very first match we're covering is Anarchy in the Arena. That's right. Despite happening only a few days ago, I couldn't keep my head in the game while I was watching. I had thought too much was going on, and my deep-fried brain couldn't keep up. I thought I couldn't be the only one who hated it, but the match was pretty universally loved as far as I saw. Will cooler heads prevail on this viewing? Let's find out. You can hear Excalibur say, "Tell Tony Schiavone we'll do this goddamn something." I've listened to it a ton, but I can't figure out what they'll do. Jericho Appreciation Society is out first with matching white get-ups. They look silly, but I'm sure that's on purpose. You can tell even though Jericho's character won't let them do it anymore, he really loves when people sing Judas. I'm glad he's getting his bit of fulfillment on that. Our motley crew is out through the crowd with Moxley to Wild Thing. Ortiz has the Puerto Rican flag on his face, MGS3 style. I literally just finished MGS3 on my award-winning stream, Technically Rudo. The names are barely out of Justin Roberts' mouth, and Jericho Appreciation Society jump the barricade and all hell breaks loose. This isn't the type of match you can do play-by-play about because everyone is just all over the place. Bryan Danielson ends up with Angelo Parker in a tarped-off section, and Mox stabs Matt Menard with a fork as Wild Thing loops again. Matt is bleeding like fuck. Jericho does some real kooky shit on a rascal scooter. Mox cuts him off but sits in it and applies a sleeper. Mox and Jericho end up by the production area and Jericho smashes the device playing Wild Thing, I guess. Everyone has ended up everywhere, but Danielson and Parker are still in the tarped off area, so I'm imagining Danielson was just torturing him the whole time. Kingston and Menard are brawling backstage, and Santana and Ortiz throw Hager through a table at ringside. Menard and Kingston are covered in mustard, while Garcia does a fucking pile driver onto the steel steps that gets an extremely legit, "Oh my god," from Excalibur. Jim Ross doesn't care, though. Pure fucking chaos is going on, and it's hard to follow. Everyone is fighting everywhere, and it feels like every few seconds people end up somewhere completely different. Garcia goes from ringside to backstage with Kingston and Menard without any notice. The camera is cutting so much you'd think this was a one-on-one WWE match. Garcia drags Kingston by the throat with his belt, and I want a real singles match to happen between these two, damn it. Jericho does the walls of Jericho on Mox on the timekeeper's table and they fall through. Danielson kicks the fuck out of Hager as Mox tries to take the top rope down. I feel like they could have rigged it so that it wouldn't take so long. Danielson takes a suplex onto the ramp and it's sick. Mox crotches Jericho with the rope he pulled down. Kingston and Garcia end up in a freight elevator as Danielson and Mox fuck up Hager and Jericho in the ring with the loose rope. Menard, Parker, Santana, and Ortiz are brawling in the crowd still. We get a replay of Mox hitting a running knee on Jericho because the focus was on Santana and Ortiz setting up a ladder. Santana and Ortiz jump off the ladder, putting Parker and Menard through tables. Jericho sprays Mox in the face with a fire extinguisher. At some point, a barbed wire board was put on a table at ringside. We're down to Mox, Jericho, Hager, and Danielson trading punches in the ring, to the increasing hype of the crowd. Mox and Danielson go for their tandem hammer and anvil elbows to big ovation. Then we get a tandem bulldog choke and label lock. Eddie fucking Kingston stumbles to the ring covered in blood with a jerry can. He douses Jericho and inadvertently Danielson too, and Danielson and Kingston start fighting. Mox tries to break them up, but Jericho hits all of them with a chair. Hager throws Mox into the barbed wire table, and Hager and Jericho start beating up Danielson. Danielson makes a comeback and hits the psycho knee on Hager and a chair-assisted knee on Jericho, but Jericho kicks out. Danielson does his mid-clicks and declares he's going to kick Jericho's fucking head in, but Hager hits Danielson with the bad knee with the bat. Jericho locks in a single leg crab while Hager chokes him out with the rope. The crowd chant for Kingston, but a Judas effect from earlier has kept him down. Aubrey Edwards calls for the bell as Danielson passes out. The rest of Jericho Appreciation Society converge in the ring to celebrate, covered in blood. I'll be honest, my opinion with a less fuzzy head hasn't really changed. I love a good brawl and I love some blood, but there was too much fucking shit going on that I couldn't really connect to any of it. It got real good when things converged in the ring, though. I'm looking forward to Blood and Guts because everyone will be in one spot. Oh well, though. Not every match will be for everyone, and this one wasn't for me. This was our bonus match. We'll be doing one every week, sometimes a recent match, sometimes an old match, but always a wrestling match. On and on to Rampage. These really kick at the throat, I'm going to tell you. Ooh. Rampage starts hot, like insanely hot. Like the building they're in is figuratively on fire hot. Lucha Bros versus the Young Bucks. Both teams have the crowd intensely into it, as they are loud as hell for everything that happens, and rightfully so. Both teams go insane, balls to the wall, full tilt. There's not a moment in this 15-minute match that isn't packed with action. Commentary notes that this is the 9th time these two teams have faced each other, and they sure act like it. Every motion is crisp, smooth, and precise. We're one match in, and there's no way this match isn't match of the night. Hell, match of the week. Watch this match. You owe it to yourself as a wrestling fan. Also worth noting, the Hardys and Jurassic Express are in the crowd, watching. I don't know where they're going from here, but hey, let's fucking go. Next, we have Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs versus some local guys. We cut to a promo where Starks and Hobbs say they're just getting started and the match ends. They really made this show live up to its name. I didn't even see the match. I'm not joking. I watched the promo, and when it cuts back, the ref was on count 2 of 3. That fucking ruled. I almost couldn't believe it. Had to be less than 30 seconds long. Amazing. Kiera Hogan faces off against Athena in her debut. It seems like the baddies are done with Smart Mark Sterling, now that they have Stokely Hathaway. I approve. Athena comes out wearing Buzz Lightyear wings. We get some good, athletic back and forth, and Athena does a real neat fake-out suicide dive thing where she runs up to the ropes, then just steps out and jumps over. I dug it. A match turns around when Athena goes and talks shit to the baddies, and Red Velvet rips Athena off the apron. I would just not provoke the big group of my opponents. Athena hits an absolutely insane series of kicks, like a drop kick that looks like it murders Hogan, but I think she's okay. Athena finally hits the diving cutter for the win. Jade Cargill actually looks kind of nervous, which is unusual for her. It's good. House of Black appear and they talk about how the induction of Julia Hart was a months-long plan. Cool. CM Punk comes out with an announcement. The crowd is happy, but Punk is somber, and I am nervous. When Punk is crying in the ring, the cheers and CM Punk chants only intensify, which is rather touching. Punk announces that he must undergo surgery to fix an injury, and as a result must relinquish the AEW Championship. Man, that is unfortunate. I said earlier in this episode that I didn't need to see Punk win the title, but now that it's happened, I'm not mad. Well, now that it's off him, I want to see him with it again. I do wonder what this means for the AEW title, what this means for Forbidden Door, for Hiroshi Tanahashi. Whatever it is, we here at Return of the Mark Studios wish a speedy recovery to CM Punk. We're backstage with Dante Martin and Scorpio Sky. Dante has Matt Sydal with him, and Scorpio has Ethan Page and Dan Lambert with him. This match is one I've been looking forward to as both these guys rule. I don't expect Scorpio to drop the TNT title right away like this, but again, I would love to see Dante with it, as he's one of my favorite younger wrestlers on the AEW roster right now. His time will come, one way or another, I am sure of it. Before the main event starts, Excalibur offers a small apology to Brett Weiss and Sam Linsky. Quote unquote, they know why. I googled these people, and while I couldn't find Brett Weiss, I'm not sure if I heard the name right to get the spelling right. Sam Linsky is the Associate General Manager and Senior Vice President of Scripted Original Programming for TNT, TBS, and True TV. I wonder if this is alluding to MJF's speech on Dynamite or for something else. Interesting. This was a pretty cool match. Scorpio starts off in control and Dante kicks into second gear with his high-flying offense. Dante Martin always looks like he goes about 1.5 feet higher than he's supposed to, and it's always sick. He at one point did like a 3-point jump to the top rope from the outside, and that was amazing. Seriously, I love this dude. Scorpio Sky pulls it out with his crusher at the end, but it looks like he pulled his groin or something. I very much hope that's not the case. During the match, it's announced that Tony Khan will not strip Punk of the AEW Championship. Instead, a Battle Royal will open Dynamite. The winner of the Battle Royal will face the #1 ranked Jon Moxley in the main event. And the winner of that match will go on to Forbidden Door to fight for the AEW Interim World Championship, presumably against Hiroshi Tanahashi. And that's it. Not much to announce for next week. Just that little mini match run for the interim title and Hangman Page versus David Finlay. That match should rule. This was a weird week for AEW. It feels like everything is up in the air. A new champion crowned and fallen in the same week. New ventures for the TNT champion. The tag team champions are scouting new teams to face, and the most credible threat yet to the undefeated TBS champion is waiting in the wings. The women's world champion was nowhere. I guess she was sent home sick. Turbulent week for sure, but lots going on. What will happen next? Tune in to find out. I can't wait to see you. Once again, I'm Russell, host of award-winning Twitch stream, Technically Rudo, and this has been Return of the Mark. Gosh, what a weird thing that I just did. Maybe I'll keep doing it if the reaction to that is good. It's like a weird, like, 40-minute stream at the end, but hey, if it gets like good response, be Friday evenings after Rampage sometime when I properly write my shit up, you know? And hey, if you're one of those folks that missed out on the thing and don't feel like watching the VOD for some reason, youtube.com/technicallyrudo is where the full version of this podcast will go up. Yeah, that shit's weird, but I'm gonna probably do that from now on. Cause fucking why not? What difference does it make? I'm reading into the microphone. I got the thing up. This is how I do it. This is how we do it. I just gotta add the music parts in. And then it goes up. Oh boy, am I tired. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me tonight. It's been a real pleasure. I might record tomorrow, but my voice might be shot. I might stream tomorrow, but my voice might be shot. And if that's the case, I'm not going to stream tomorrow. But hey, I did a 2-for-1 today. I did a 7-hour stream followed by a 45-minute pro wrestling recap. How cool is that? It's pretty fucking cool, actually. I'm pretty proud of myself for getting through so much stuff. Anyway, have a good rest of the night, everybody. I'll see you later.